And it was crazy because I was doing this show for the Recession Tour. The first show I had was in Boston, in the House of Blues. And it was funny because normally when I did all my shows, it would be all, and I don't mean this like, I mean like there was, in my shows, it was the gangsters, the killers, and the robbers. That was the front row. It was no women. You know what I'm saying? And when I dropped that 60 pounds, Ed, in my first show in Boston, I remember it like it was yesterday. I came out, and by the second song, I looked at my security like, yo, what are you doing? They're throwing stuff on the stage. And he looked at me and said, boss, it's bras and panties and stuff. And I was just like, oh. So I'm like, yo, this is different. You know what I'm saying?
It's awesome.
And I promised myself, like, I wasn't going to go back. And then I just started to get on this journey of just trying to, like, I did what I did in the neighborhood, which was start to sit around older people, get outside of my comfort zone, and just have conversations with people who I wouldn't normally have a conversation with.
Yep.
And just ask them questions because I started to understand they wasn't biased, right?
Yep.
And they would give me honest answers. And I started my journey to healing around that time. Of course, I didn't have, podcasts like yours and stuff like that, but I just was getting little bits and pieces of information and trying to figure it out, right?
Yep.
And that started me on my journey, and that's when I started to really come into my stardom and started to understand. But mind you, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm like, okay, this is cool, but I don't think this is a life for me. Like, I got to figure out how to establish myself as a businessman. Because with this, one thing that I did understand, and I don't think a lot of people understand, is that the music, and the reason why rap was one of the biggest genres last year is because music became the streets, right? And that's why so many people die in it. And that's why so many people are incarcerated in it. Because all the street guys, after me, started to figure out Jeezy was in the streets. I know him. I know Lil J. I know he used to be over there. I'm going to do that, right? And so everybody started to get in music. And then next thing you know, music was more violent than the streets. But I saw that coming, so I'm like, I got to figure out how to do business because I don't want to go through this again.
Oh, my gosh. Right? Brother, that's striking what you just said. Yeah. Because now that you say it, I've obviously observed that happening, but you to be on the inside of that. Right. I'm just picturing you walking out, you're touring with Jay-Z in the beginning, and you're looking at the front row, and you don't know if any of these dudes are there for you.
Oh, right.
That night. That's amazing to me. Right. And then the fact that dudes like you then brought guys into the business who were already living that type of a life, and it sort of transformed the industry from guys who talked about this stuff to guys who actually lived this stuff.
And this is the trip part. This is where it came in at. I knew early on that I was in a position of leadership, right? I understood that more so than the artist. That's why I never claimed the rapper role. Like, I was like, I got to figure out how to do this to be an example for the people that come from where I come from, because I'm not going to stop here. It's like being in the street. You don't want to start, petty hustling, and then now all of a sudden you got this connect and you just stop there. I don't want to go to jail there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what I started to notice is that, and even now, and the reason why I feel like it's more my purpose, and I have to lean into my purpose to show this generation behind me, how do you evolve in it? Because just imagine when I got in, it's just like Jordan versus LeBron, and things like that. You got to know that this generation is getting a way different type of money. So that comes with a way different type of power. So they're able to do things that we couldn't even do.